How do you want? That's what I'm saying. How do you want to do like an opening?
Indecisive cinema.
That's just.
I'm saying, I promise you, I'm gonna mess that up.
The Indecisive cinema.
Indecisive cinema.
What podcast? What you said it was?
Movie podcast. We're deciding the name at the moment.
The Indecisive Cinema movie podcast.
I'm just gonna leave this in with that.
Oh, that is it. That's great.
Indecisive cinema.
Good. Since we're doing that, I like my John Huston's White Elephant Radio Hour, but that was vetoed.
I guess we've come to the conclusion that Indecisive cinema is the name of this podcast.
Indecisive title cinema.
Yeah, right. Because of the fact that we could not come up with anything.
Come up with any name. Anyway. Well, I mean, we did, but other than that, you loved. But yes. So this hour of Indecisive podcasting begins with Jeremy Knight and myself, Carlos Hernandez.
That's him.
That's him. And I think we should go over some introductions, origins, if you will, and some ground rules of the show. But I will defer it over to Jeremy Knight, who we both came up with this idea, but this is his show more than anyone else's. So, Jeremy, start off. What is it? Who are you first? What is your name? Even though I said 7 times.
My name is Jeremy Knight. I'm from Chicago originally. I moved here. I've lived here almost half my life now. 20 years old, living in Houston, Texas. And I like movies a lot. I work in the film and television industry as a video editor, and I also work at cinematography, lighting, things like that. And primarily video editing, though. I work for a lot of different production companies on commercial, film, video, television, stuff like that. And that's what I do. And so my life revolves around movies. I love them. I love them to death. And
he does.
More than I love watching them, I love talking about them.
Yes, he does.
That's why we're here. So, yeah, that's me.
Well, me is I'm Carlos Hernandez, and this is almost like a Star is Born. My life in film happened before I got here to Texas. I am a 43-year-old. I guess you could say sorry about that cell phone.
A little technical.
I forgot to turn off my phone like Jeremy did.
Mine vibrated earlier. So
I know, right?
Good. We're both guilty of it.
I'm originally from New York, Brooklyn, and I went to film school. I did the television production. I then did a radio show on NPR, the Dun and Dunner Show, and where I did a podcast like this with my partner Delano Dunn. And basically, I studied film. I love film. I used to do just like Jeremy. I would love to watch a movie, go to the closest diner and eat pie and talk about movies. And that's why I love Jeremy. And I think this would be a good hour where we can discuss both new and old. Jeremy is a young, hip, not hipster, but young, hip, urban.
I don't know that hip is the word to describe me.
Well, I'm an old hipster doofus, and Jeremy's bent is more for the modern age, more of the new wave, if you want to call it new wave cinema now. And I love the classics.
As do I. But
he's
definitely more knowledgeable than I am on the subject. I've watched movies forever, but
Yeah. So
I didn't grow up through a lot of his. I mean, what you have. I mean, I haven't grown up.
Yeah.
Different generations.
Yeah, definitely. No offense to anyone. I grew up during the 70s, so I have not only have the 70s cinema, which is the greatest decade of cinema ever.
I'll agree with you.
1968 to 1980.
There's no denying that.
Easy Rider, Raging Bull, one of the greatest books, if you ever get that. In documentaries, too. They had one back in the late 2000s. But yeah, and Jeremy Moore is... Like I said, Jeremy's here in the now, the 2010 and on, and Jeremy knows film, and he does have good taste in the movie, and eclectic, which is good.
I don't know if we disagreed to it often enough that I don't know that he could say I have good taste in movies. I don't know that you truly believe that, but
well, no, I do. I just when it comes to one director that we'll get to in a bit when we do our top 10, I just can't stand that director, and for other reasons, but that's a different story. But without further ado, I mean, we do have a certain structure. Being that but I mean today, and just like any other show that I've done, we always want to start off with some of our faves. We have a top 10 list. We decided not to go in any particular order, not to sound pretentious.
We could argue about that all day long.
Definitely. You guys can call in if this was a radio show. You'd all call in tell us that we're wrong.
Yeah, there's no calling in. You can feel free to email us, I suppose. But
yeah, email us. I do. I wish we had a little call in. That'd be fun. I did that at NPR. But yeah. So I think we'll start off with Jeremy's top 10 list of film. We do have a top 10 directors as well. But
my list is I'm gonna go with director.
So all right, so then we'll do directors
favorite
first.
Film for each director.
Good, I like that
because I do have directors that have multiple of my favorites on there.
Agreed.
So I'm gonna give my favorite of each and move on. So
all right,
I'm gonna start. There's no particular
order
again. I'm not going to be the guy that says Stanley Kubrick's my favorite all-time director. I mean, he's definitely a favorite of mine.
Yeah, he is.
I'm going to get to that, but I'm not going to rank them because they're all different.
Mm-hmm.
They all have great films. They all have favorites in mind. So that's what this list is about. So I'm going to start with Paul Thomas Anderson. I'm a huge fan. I know Carlos is also a huge fan.
Yeah,
not of his recent stuff.
Yeah, I love his 10 years ago movies. Yeah,
I still think Boogie Nights is my favorite. Of all
also
time.
my favorite film. Yeah, my favorite film.
Boogie Nights is amazing. It's to this day one of my all time favorites. So definitely Paul Thomas Anderson. I'm a huge fan of The Master as well. I like There Will Be Blood a lot. I know you hate both. I haven't seen, Inherent Vice has not come out yet. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that. Yeah.
I just like what he's doing. I like his visual style. I like just the way that he directs actors, the way that he holds shots.
And I think that's the problem. And now I'm going to sound pretentious, but I mean, what Paul Thomas Anderson does now is just that visual, and it's all. And everyone's going to say, "What was the guy, an idiot?" But comparing it almost to like Eastwood, Clint Eastwood for a while. That's all he did, imagery. I mean, from like late 80s to like up into the turn of the century. All his movies, like Unforgiven, great movie, one of my favorite films of all time. But it's almost a lot of imagery. And you see the wide shot of the plains of Missouri. And it's great. I mean, but I think that's what happened. I think with Paul Thomas Anderson, you start off with Hard Eight, got this really good script, from an unknown. Had a nice little pool of actors that are really good.
Good ensemble.
Great ensemble. Then you have Boogie Nights, one of the greatest ensembles ever. I can list every actor, some of the greatest lines in that movie.
They all did great things.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
And then you get Magnolia, which is like the pinnacle because then you got A-listers like Tom Cruise, Jason Robards, and it transcends there. And the script is like, and what I love about Magnolia is that the script, who knows what the fuck happened with that script, but it's just But it's good because you don't know the ending. You don't know what happens to the worm. You don't know who's actually talking. I mean, though now me and you, I think, discussing with John C. Reilly sitting across from this girl. But I mean, it's. But then after that, it's like with what comes after Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love.
Yes.
Very visual. And I like it. And it's funny because my ex-wife hated the almost psychedelic visuals in Punch Drunk Love.
I can understand that, though.
But I dug it, and I really did. And then I thought, okay, if you want to go artistic imagery, and that's good.
There's less of the dialogue, more of the visual.
Exactly. And in that movie, there's almost 50-50. Adam Sandler is really good in the movie.
It's very good. It's his best film, I think.
Right?
I'm also a huge... I genuinely dislike his recent work. I was never a huge fan of his original stuff either. Punch Drunk Love is definitely his best movie.
Yeah, and then you start going to what comes after Punch Drunk Love.
I think you jump up to There Will Be Blood after that.
Yeah, is it? Is he from? Yeah, right. Hold on, it could be.
Or we're missing a huge important thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go to IMDb and don't get mad at me. That's me.
Yeah, we're gonna do some research while talking. There's no reason to get this wrong.
Yeah, right. So then, so we have you're right. You got Punch Drunk Love, and then after that you have There Will Be Blood, and then
2007.
And There Will Be Blood. Like I said, you know what it is, and it has nothing to do with. I mean, I love Daniel Day-Lewis, and he was really good in the film, but as far as storyline's concerned, all you see is like imagery, and they're great, but nothing really happens. And
it's as slow as movies get.
Yeah. It is, and like in the ending, it's maybe the satisfying payoff, but I mean, still, only because I hated Paul Dano's character in the movie anyway.
I'm supposed to hate him.
So
let's be fair there. He's not somebody you're supposed to like a whole lot of it.
Yeah, and then The Master. Then I Jeremy loves The Master, and I watched it.
I see. I left. I felt cold the first time leaving.
Yeah.
And I really, really loved it the second time, and I've seen it a couple times after that. I think the performance by Joaquin Phoenix is.
Oh no, yeah, I did like Joaquin Phoenix.
Out of this
I like
good, and I think Philip Seymour Hoffman's very good as well.
He's good in almost everything.
There's a scene in that movie though, even the first time I think that is one of the best scenes in a movie I've seen in a long time. With the first processing sequence where you learn a little bit more about Joaquin Phoenix. I can't say it. Phoenix's character, it's a sequence where he first makes him it's Scientology.
Yes,
is what it is. Basically, I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson afterwards said we should have told people that it was about Scientology. Maybe then more people would have gone and saw the film. But there's that first sequence though where he asks him about the relationship with his mother and all these things. You get this really powerful sequence where Joaquin Phoenix gives just an incredible performance, and I think it's a great. It's like 20 minutes into the film, maybe 30. And after we spent some time with him, then we get this, I think movie changing scene where it kind of transitions into their relationship after we've kind of fully understood where this character is coming from, and I love it a lot, especially the second time through. So I'm gonna stand by The Master. It's definitely his best recent film. I do love Punch Drunk Love as well. And I definitely like The Master more than There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
But I think he's making some good stuff. Interesting, at least.
Yeah.
In terms of very different films. You never know what to expect from him. I mean, Inherent Vice is one of the first ones where we don't really, because it's based on source material.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's one of the first things first movies that's come out.
But at least there's a return to some type of master ensemble. You have all these really good actors in it. And even if it ends up being sucky, even if it's almost as close to Magnolia, and a whole bunch of really good actors doing really good work in something that doesn't really pan out toward the end, or at least you don't feel satisfied, it's something that I'm looking forward to see because of the fact that, and I don't want to dip here by saying, because I was going to mention it before with TV, but almost like Joss Whedon, where Joss Whedon is the master of ensemble, and he learned that, honing his skill on Buffy. And I think I like that about Paul Thomas Anderson. Magnolia is so many actors and characters, but he pulls these great performances from every single one,
It's a sign of really great direction.
Definitely.
So, yeah, Paul Thompson, I shouldn't have started with that because that's actually one of the ones that we disagree on the most. Aside from Boogie Nights. I think we agree on Boogie Nights, Magnolia, and I do like Punch Drunk Love as well. And then, on my list, like I said, there's no particular order.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino's next. I think we both agree with that. I've got The Wallet from Pulp Fiction. I love his movies to death. Pulp Fiction being my favorite, of course. Reservoir Dogs being, I think, one of his best movies. Pulp Fiction is by no means a perfect film, I don't think. Yeah. There's some sequences that I personally would cut out, which is my only quibble with Tarantino. There's some things that he needs to edit down a bit. In all of his films, not just in Pulp Fiction, but Reservoir Dogs, I think, is good as movies get. But it's Pulp Fiction is the one I go back to and I watch over and over and over again. I've seen it a bunch of times. It's a really great movie. Definitely changed the way I watch movies. I understand why people don't like it, but I really, really love it.
Well, I think it's good to interject here. Only because it'll be on my list, and I guess I'll do that every time you mention someone on my list.
Might as well point out, our lists are actually almost
identical.
Except for three,
because I didn't have Paul Thomas in, but I would put him up there. I definitely Tarantino. I'm not gonna lie. There's no order as Jeremy wanted, but I'm not gonna. I think Tarantino's my favorite, and it's funny because, like I said, where Jeremy is now in his life, I was there when Tarantino came out. I was one of the descendants of the cinemas of cool. I wanted to go out on the screenplays I wrote, all about
like a documentary.
But Pulp Fiction, yes, like you said, it changed the way we watched film. It has a little harkens back to the 60s new wave. And Sam Jackson, you can't get any better than that. Jules, Travolta, it's definitely he brought him back from the dead. With Vincent Vega, but
didn't last too long, but
but still, and agreed. Like Reservoir Dogs is more of a solid film. Granted, he stole that from City on Fire.
Yeah.
With
all that aside.
I'm not trying to be a dick about it. I'm just saying that it was still the way he did that film was so polished or stylized.
Really,
I mean,
that's probably his most. It's an hour and a half.
About an hour and 36 minutes.
It's one of his shortest films.
Yeah,
I think it's the one that I think he cut down everything he needed to.
Yeah,
there's very few things I'd take out in that movie. I think the performances are all very good. Steve Buscemi in particular, Tim Roth. I think is
so great, Mr. Orange.
So I mean that's definitely a favorite of mine. Yeah. And I do like his early. I mean, I think Django's great. I really enjoy Django.
It was a good movie. I mean,
there's not a
I was
film.
going to say I don't think there's a film that he directed that. I mean, everyone says Jackie Brown, but I actually like Jackie Brown. I've grown to love it over the years. Soundtrack, the style, the acting, but it's very subtle. Yeah, but it's very subtle. I think the worst.
It's not what you expect. It's not the movie that you expected from him at the time.
Agreed.
A lot of people dislike it.
Because it was the follow-up to Pulp Fiction.
One of his more mature films, though, for sure.
I think it was him growing as a director, and that's why. And of course, his love for the 70s. Four Rooms, and his segment of Four Rooms, like the weakest of the bunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rodriguez is the best, but I think that if you want to name films that suck for Tarantino, it would be Four Rooms. But other than that, I mean, Kill Bill was. Kill Bill. I don't know who Kill Bill is just, I think, one of my favorite films as well. And I say favorite, not greatest, like Pulp Fiction, but I mean, I can watch Kill Bill over and over again because it's just so, entertaining. The harken to the Shaw Brothers of the '70s, the Warner Brother films.
So lots of love with his film.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he has a really bad film to go on.
Yeah, and I mean, next on my list is Kubrick. I'm definitely a fan of Kubrick, as you are as well. Yeah. This is one that we don't disagree on at all, I don't think. And my favorite being, I said, we talked about this earlier, I said Clockwork Orange, I'd say is my favorite. I think 2001, though, the first time I saw 2001, I didn't even see it on big screen. I saw it at home. And the second time I saw it,
I saw it on 70mm in New York, so I know what he means.
Yeah, but you watch that movie, and just from a visual, it's really breathing. And I think it's a slow. It's just it's slow as movies get, but it's fascinating, and there's.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like I recently watched it with my sister. I've seen it about 20, 30 times, and for a slow movie, it's engaging. And you want to see more. And even though it was shot in 1969, and back then this was like
great.
It won the awards for effects and everything. And now it's like, you can be like,
It holds up though.
But it does.
Well,
it does. And it's like, it's like I love a conspiracy. I love you don't know what the hell happened on the planet when they unearthed it the first time, and then it shows up in the future. It's just, I mean.
And music, use of music, that score is incredible.
Using of
obviously everybody knows the score from 2001 Space Odyssey. It's got a huge impact on film, and seeing it on the big screen for the first time, there was definitely. Same with Clockwork Orange, though. I mean,
but where did you saw it in Chicago or Texas?
It was in Texas, yeah. Just at like a local Cinemark when they did their classic movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, but when I saw it, both Clockwork Orange and 2001, it's like just the scope of not Clockwork Orange of 2001. The scope of it and like the just the cinematic quality of that film, it's incredible. So I mean, I would say. I don't know which one I like more. 2000 or Clockwork Orange is one I watch more. Yeah. So if I had to pick a favorite, it'd be that.
And I think my favorite to add, and then my favorite is a Doctor Strangelove, and I think it's one of the greatest screenplays. Terry Southern, such a dark comedy. I mean, I remember seeing that movie when I was a kid, and I was like, it's like, but it's like as you get older, you're like, it's funny, and it's really so funny. Hilarious.
It went over my head the first time I saw it.
Yeah,
sure. But it's
Peter Sellers.
It's borderline silly.
Yeah, but really it's the genius of that whole taboo of the Soviet killing us and stuff with the nuclear war, and I love that. But again, after and then even The Killing and maybe any of the earlier his noirish gangster films.
Yeah, I really like The Killing a lot. Yeah, I didn't see that till recently.
And Tarantino was definitely with The Killing. He took a lot of that for Reservoir Dogs. But like you said, The Shining later on. I mean, it's almost transcendent. It's a horror film, but it's a psychological film. It works on so many levels.
Any movie that has got a documentary about the movie has accomplished something in my book. But which is a good documentary as well. Room 297. It's very good.
Nicholson's just. I mean, that performance is just one of the greatest of his insane performances.
Yeah, even Shelley Duvall, great Jack Nicholson performances. I mean,
I love them, and like Shelley Duvall, the kid. I mean, I didn't know whatever happened to that kid. That kid was great as Danny, and I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that. I mean, you might. I don't know. I think you said you like Barry Lyndon and some of the stuff in between.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And Lolita and
yeah, that's right. I forget about Lolita, and I like Lolita.
Definitely not. I mean, it's hard to compare those movies to his films that really stand out. I mean,
yeah,
because the I don't know.
Full Metal Jacket. I mean,
it's great. Eyes Wide Shut is bizarre.
That's right. What do I always forget about Eyes Wide Shut? And I recently saw that last year.
There's just such a gap between The Shining, even between
because it's The Shining's 1980, then you get 87 for
Full Metal Jacket,
and then 99 for Eyes Wide Shut.
And I think before The Shining, it was Clockwork Orange was 71.
71, yeah,
and then Odyssey was 68.
Yeah, before that.
I think did he do Linden in between?
Barry Lyndon was between that and The Shining. Yeah,
and look this up.
Yeah, I know, but we're just now we're being unprofessional. So I'm going to go to IMDb and get that. But yeah, no, you're right because his
there's a big gap in between his last three films, and you forget about him almost, even though I think.
But you're right. Yeah, see, it's The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, I just said Barry Lyndon, Clockwork Orange. Yeah. So yeah, we were all on point. The only movies we didn't mention were Paths of Glory and Spartacus.
Yeah, which were before, of course.
Yeah. So, and I love Paths of Glory. I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, he's on both of our lists. I don't even know if you really need to. You'll read your list just to show you the different. Yours is ranked. Yours is ranked, isn't it?
Mine was basically.
So I guess you can rank it just so we can get some frame reference on what your favorite of your directors are.
Yeah. So I mean, again, Tarantino, and again, only because I guess it's more personal in my life. Then after Tarantino, I would definitely say Kubrick.
Yeah.
Then after Kubrick would be Charlie Chaplin. Then after Chaplin, I would say Scorsese.
All right, hold on, you're getting ahead of here.
Oh yeah. We're going to director. See, you got me doing it.
Just pretend like you didn't hear those.
I didn't know. No, not one said. Go.
All right. So, and like I said, no order. Then after Kubrick, I'm going to say Coen Brothers. Coen Brothers is absolutely a favorite of mine. Big Lebowski being my all-time favorite. Their best movie, I think, is No Country for Old Men. Interesting. I would say or Fargo though. I don't know which one.
Fargo is one of my favorite movies of all time too. Yeah.
No Country for Old Men though, just from a cinematography in that film by Deakins did that, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think just on all levels that's a movie that blows you away. Not everybody loves it, but I think No Country is a great piece of work. So I would say Coen Brothers. Favorite is Big Lebowski. It's the one I've seen a billion times. Their best movie, though, I think No Country for Old Men is really, really outstanding, in my opinion.
And it's funny because you mentioned also earlier, too,
going over Blood Simple, though.
Being Indecisive. It's funny because, before I got into diehard film, I mean, I've been into movies since I was 6 years old. Blood Simple, when it came out, I actually saw it on HBO like one late night. And I actually liked Blood Simple, but it wasn't Raising Arizona, which you say you thought was really silly.
Silly in a good way, though. I
mean, exactly.
It's the good kind of silly.
And it was so quirky. Nothing ever, with the hillbilly music and I just love, and what's her name? Oh my God, I forget her name quick.
I definitely.
I'm going to say Frances McDormand.
They've got a huge list of movies. Inside Llewyn Davis, I think, is one of my favorites of last
year. Holly Hunter is in Raising Arizona. And she's just so damn good in that role, I mean, not to mention Nick Cage, but I mean, it's so funny. But the early stuff I liked because of its slapsticky zaniness and a little. I don't know if you knew about
they still do that though. Like Burn After Reading would be an example of kind of
interesting
that borders into silliness. A lot of people didn't like Burn After Reading.
I know, and I did. Remember, I told you I like the dark comedy of it. But it's funny.
It plays like a spy movie, but idiots.
Yeah.
Plays a spy movie of idiots, and I'm a fan of that. I mean, really, it's.
Remember, the Coen Brothers started out on Sam Raimi's coattails.
Yeah.
And their love of the Three Stooges, as did Sam Raimi, comes out in some of that early slapsticky stuff. So I love that. But like you said, now, I mean, they're looking at themselves, everyone does, as directors.
Yeah.
On par with Kubrick and Chaplin, and their work has gotten more.
Accomplishment, though.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like to be able to go from Raising Arizona to like No Country for Old Men, or that's a huge accomplishment.
And you I mean, you really do. I love No Country for Old Men, and even the ambiguous ending. And I remember me and my father fighting about it because
ambiguous about the
way it ends. It ends very subtly.
Very end.
Like the last scene with Tommy Lee Jones in the diner, and then boom.
There's a lot of people say that the ambiguous part is the scene before.
Before it, right?
I've read the book as well, which
did you?
Which actually made me like the film even more.
Interesting.
It's by Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite authors as well. even though he is one of the worst screenplays of last year with
what?
The Counselor.
That's right. He wrote that, right?
He wrote that, yeah. So we'll forgive him for that. Maybe not, but
maybe not.
Yeah, Cormac McCarthy wrote No Country for Old Men. I think there's a little less ambiguity, it's a hard word, but in the book. And I think the Coen brothers adapted it very well. It's very close to the book as well. Aside from the main character, actually, I guess there's some differences in the film.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of it.
You said you read The Road too, right?
Yes, The Road is one of my favorite books
of
all time. I'm not crazy about the movie. I think it works better.
I like the movie. I know I told you that.
I like a lot about the movie.
Yeah.
I might like it more now. I don't know. I saw that when I was younger. Younger. It was like 4 years ago. Something like that. But
Blood Meridian's a really good book, and I hear they keep going to do it, but they've been talking about
that's a hard one to make.
But Blood Meridian is really good. I mean, a friend of mine,
that's a hard one to sell. It's got to be R. You can't. It's hard to make that as a PG-13 movie.
But stop making PG-13 movie. Like,
I agree.
I mean, make it like The Counselor, make it rated R. Blood Meridian has to be rated R. It's such a good book. I love that book. But
that's the trouble that they've run into. Granted, rated R films are making more money now. I mean, more money. Like we're talking like past 2 years. I mean, just it's changing, but we'll see. But people are still trying to PG-13 horror films.
Well, the Disneyfication of film, I guess.
I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens with that. But as of now, it's a hard movie to make because you got to make it R.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have a huge audience. I mean, in terms of like. Unless it's made properly, but
Well, it says here. I mean, since we talked about The Counselor, Ridley Scott has been attempting to make Blood Meridian for years, and I mean, I don't know how he can. I mean, instead of making stupid shit like The Counselor, make a movie like this.
Right.
He says he wants to stay faithful to the gratuitous violence.
Good.
But nobody's greenlit that project because nobody wants that hard R. You have to make Blood Meridian the way it was made in the book, and you have to make it hard R.
It'll get made eventually. Not if he keeps making movies like The Counselor and Exodus and
I mean, until you told me that today, I didn't know he made that stupid ass movie Exodus. Christian Bale's in it. That's just summing up.
I wonder. I hope he's not going insane. I don't know what's going on with Ridley Scott, but it's an issue for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to move on because we're never going to get through these lists.
Right.
So the Coen Brothers and then Scorsese, which is on both of ours.
Both our lists, Scorsese. Yeah.
Favorite film of Scorsese is really hard though.
I'll be honest.
I'm going to be indecisive about this. There ain't no good answer for.
Thus the title. I mean. It's funny because he's made one movie in every era that's, like in the 70s, he made Mean Streets, one of my favorite movies of all time. In the 80s, he did Raging Bull, one of the greatest movies of all time. 90s, he did The Goodfellas. Oh my God, Goodfellas.
You skipped over probably my favorite, though.
Which is
Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver. Oh, wait.
76?
Let me rephrase that. Taxi Driver is better than Mean Streets, right? Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, all with De Niro. And then you have, at the turn of the century... The Departed, which is one of my favorite.
One in between that, I feel like. Well, he did Casino in like 2000.
But Casino's not. 2000 though. Casino's good, but it's not.
Oh, it's no Goodfellas.
It's no Goodfellas.
It's no good. That's the most pretentious thing
we just said, right?
It's no Goodfellas.
It's no Goodfellas.
But I think I really love The Departed. I mean, I think he's been on a roll too. Wolf of Wall Street. He did Hugo, which was kind of a bizarre.
I like Hugo too.
It's very good. But it's like really mature. I mean, not that he's always made.
I mean, you could name the in between like Who's That Knocking at My Door from the '60s. I like that. Yeah. That's like a blueprint for Mean Streets, and you got Mean Streets. Then you have Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, which I don't really like, but it got him a lot of props. Taxi Driver is such a great movie. New York. The Last Waltz, his love for music. Then The Raging Bull, and then even King of Comedy. I love King of Comedy.
Comedy is very good, yeah.
And, After Hours, I love After Hours.
Yeah, I watched After Hours with you for the first time.
For the New York Film Series. Yeah. I did a film fest. I do film fest every month. Amazing Stories, he did Mirror Mirror, which is good. You got to see that one. Color Money, another really good movie. You got The Last Temptation of Christ, another good movie.
Yeah, that is very good.
And then New York Stories, he did a segment. Goodfellas, great film.
Yeah, the dude's got a resume, that's for sure.
What do you think about Cape Fear?
I haven't seen it in so long. I did really like it. I was very creeped out by it. Any kind of home invasion stuff is... it's on. Yeah, I mean, home invasion stuff gets me. So I enjoyed it. Like I said, I haven't seen it in probably 7 years. So
How about Gangs of New York? What's your take on Gangs of New York?
I remember falling asleep in the third act, but I liked a lot of the first. A lot of the first half, yeah.
How about Aviator? I just got to ask you, these movies.
I have not seen Aviator.
Yeah, I thought
it won a bunch of awards, so who knows?
Yeah. So, but yeah, go on. The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street. Hugo and
it's on Netflix.
And The Departed. A lot of good stuff. So yeah, Scorsese for sure. I would say my favorite is Taxi Driver.
Yeah, great film.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with that.
That's yours. Mine's Goodfellas, and I love Goodfellas. I was like, it's such a great film. Pesci's fucking genius in that movie. He deserved that award. But yeah, I mean that's my favorite, the Goodfellas, and
I don't think you go wrong there.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I don't think, but you could easily pick Raging Bull or Mean Streets, or there's
so many. You could.
There's so many. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Taxi Driver though. I think the score is
Taxi Driver, Bernard Herrmann's so really good.
Yeah, it's great. Very good. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. And like I said, I'm kind of making these up in terms of my picks. A lot of these I'm not fully decided on. So my next on my list would be David Fincher. He made your honorable mentions, right?
Yeah, he made my honorable mentions.
I think we agree though that he's great.
No, he is great. I mean, barring Alien 3.
Yes, but he had a lot of problems with that movie. So
yeah,
that's recent. I don't know when that came out, when he started talking about all the issues that he had with it. Just so I'll forgive that one. It's terrible. I think it's really bad.
Yeah,
but what can you do?
But since then, The Game. One of my favorite movies is The Game.
Game is great.
And then you have.
Fight Club.
Fight Club is a masterpiece.
Seven is probably my favorite film.
It's the darkest of all of them.
It's easily the darkest. Yeah, I mean, I just think I love that kind of a movie. Dark, depressing, and it's not really.
And it's funny because you said
the ending is, but the movie it's just a crime film. It's dark and gritty and. Yeah, it's really fantastic.
And it's funny because you mentioned before, you said you didn't really dig on Blade Runner, which is a blasphemy. But
no, I didn't. I said I don't love it.
Well, okay, because if you watch and you can watch in the commentary and the documentary,
give me the
he wanted to make Seven like Blade Runner. That was his favorite movie, and it's like, but watching Blade Runner 5 times on the box set. And then watching Seven, it is the same movie.
Yeah.
And
in a great way.
Not bad with it.
Yeah, and then he did Social Network. My biggest complaint, other than Alien 3, which I think we're going to forgive. I think we're just going to forget about that one. I'm not crazy about Panic Room. Is pretty good.
I like Panic Room. I do. Zodiac's one of my favorite movies of that year. Yeah. Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
That's the one. Yeah, that's my least favorite.
Yeah, right. It's cheesy and the love story's not really there.
It's an hour too long.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's not great.
But then I know how you're gonna end this, right?
With social. Oh, what are you talking about?
Gone Girl, because you love Gone Girl.
So he's on a roll. Let's talk about it. So after my least favorite film, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, House of Cards. I mean, I know it's television, but let's be honest, it's great. Yeah. And Gone Girl this year, which is one of my favorites. It'll definitely be on my list. I felt refreshed walking out of the movies. We had a bad first year this year in movies. We had a couple good ones, but for the most part. So Gone Girl was one of those that I walked out going, oh, thank God that's good. It's really fun. It's a straight. I took it as a straight black comedy, especially after.
Yeah, when you told me that, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and so if you take it, a lot of people, especially the people I went with, they're like, yeah, it's the funniest, one of the funniest movies I've seen all year. Maybe I'm just totally wrong about that, but I laughed a lot, and I felt like it was one of those films that he was just laughing at everything that was going on in the movie. I don't know. It was just it felt like a big tongue-in-cheek joke.
Interesting.
And I love that. So it's not a movie that I'd take fully seriously, and that's what I love so much about it. Gone Girl is really great. It's dark and it's gritty and it's evil to a degree, and it's a blast. So,
I can't wait. No, I
would highly recommend Gone Girl.
Me and my girlfriend, Rhonda, who I love, we're going out this weekend, and that's the movie I told her if she wants to see it. Yeah, so.
A lot of people complain about them like it being somewhat
misogynistic,
but I don't know.
I'll let you know.
That'll be a discussion for later.
Yeah, for another show. We're like.
David Fincher's definitely. I mean, really, especially all the work he's doing on House of Cards. I mean, he's.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched The Shining. You talk about it a lot, and I definitely want to check it out. But it's got really good reviews.
Kevin Spacey is out of this world.
But David Fincher's like main director, or he directed?
No, but it's got a really great cast. I mean, it's like James Foley who did Klingari. I mean, lots of really great. Schumacher. I'm not a huge fan of Joel Schumacher, but I mean, these are quality directors though. Television, which is great. So anyway, that's getting a little off topic, but David Fincher, absolutely one of my favorites. And then after that, I have Christopher Nolan. Here's where we'll start. We'll start throwing punches. I think we agree for the majority of his.
I mean, like you said, The Following is very good. Memento, one of my favorite movies of 2000.
Absolutely.
And again, Inception fucking blew my mind. It's like I can keep showing that film and having people talk about it for hours afterward.
Even like I don't know that it's that complex. I never was super confused by
if you're smart, because you're a smart guy, as am I. But it's like people fight because they don't want to understand about the friggin' little what do you call the token? The dreidel spinning around at the end.
But no, I just think it's. I remember I saw it in theaters opening night, and it
Did
was
you?
just it was so much fun. I mean, I walked out just like. That's a movie.
And you know what's funny? And I'm just going to lead into the fight right away.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect.
This is Delano Dunn, who, if you're watching this, listen to the show, I'm giving you props. He loves Nolan's Batman.
Here's where
you can tell how much I hate it. So I refused to watch Inception when it came out because I was like, after the destruction of Batman, I'm not going to watch that. But I visited my sister in North Carolina, and she told me about an IMAX theater that she liked. They happened to be given Inception. And I said, well, you know what? Let's go check it out. Because, my ex-wife went with the girls to another movie. So we went there. And let me tell you something. I walked out just like you. I walked out shaking my head saying, I want to see it again because that's how fucking great this movie was. And it was just mind-blowing. And it was like putting pieces together. We drove home talking about it. Since my ex-wife didn't see it, we couldn't really talk while she was there. And it was just like... It was just something that we whispered about. As soon as I got back to New York, I took her to see it. Told my boy Blue about it, and it's just a movie that had to be talked about, had to be watched. And I know you've
had
seen
to be seen on the big screen.
Interstellar, I know you're saying something similar to that, like Inception.
It's an original. I think it's an original idea, and so. You can't complain about Interstellar in terms of there's no lore to complain about. So, so it's one of those. It's an original idea, and I'm going to put this out there. I think Inception is my favorite film of his.
Yeah, agreed, hands down.
Memento being my second favorite.
Agreed, hands down.
Prestige.
Oh, the Prestige. That's right. We did, we talked about it. And I told you I dug it, and luckily I saw it again. I saw it the first time. I was like, whatever. There was another movie at the same time that came out about magicians.
The Illusionist.
With Ed Norton. So I was like, yeah, whatever. But then I saw it again, and it was like watching it for the second time, Prestige, so well done.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, very good.
Really good script. It's probably I think it's one of the tightest scripts that he's written. Memento's pretty tight, too. I mean, Inception. We could sit here on the internet with everyone nitpicking Inception forever, but there's just no reason to. I feel like.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Same with Interstellar, and that's what I'm going to get to. I think Interstellar is the same way for me. I think it accomplishes so much on a cinematic and an emotional level that there are some problems with. I mean, yes, it's imaginary, but the science in the film. I mean, like a lot of it is we don't know exactly what can happen with some of the science in Interstellar, but. A lot of people have some complaints about it, but I just think it accomplishes so much. I mean, it's a movie that brings you close to tears, and anytime that can happen in a big budget PG-13 blockbuster, it's accomplishing a lot.
Is PG-13?
It's only PG-13, but every Nolan film has been PG-13 except for Insomnia.
Memento?
I don't know. I'm sure a quick Google search could figure that out. But anyway, I mean, he's making PG-13 blockbusters, big budget movies. $140 million, huge films that are making money and are getting made, and they're intelligent, and you could nitpick them. Yeah. Why? But why? With all the Michael Bay movies and with all of the stupid PG-13 horror films that are coming out, and all, Hollywood is just crapping out idea after idea.
That's true.
We get a director that wants to do something, that loves movies, and that's I love that. I'm going to defend him to the end of the earth. But
that's fine.
So that being said, the one thing that we disagree about is the Batman. Like I said, I've already given you the order of which I like the films. Batman being at the bottom of the list.
I appreciate that.
Because I do think he's made much better films than in the Dark Knight films. I think they're great though. If you're gonna make a superhero film for me, that's the kind of super film. I don't know what that is. That's the kind of superhero film that I want to see.
And unfortunately, I don't.
But I guess we also didn't mention this though. Carlos knows the comic book.
Well, yeah, I'm a big comic book fan, we decided, being Indecisive cinema, we decided to keep it cinema, not comic books, and outside of that. But being that, I mean, I love Batman. I mean, Batman is one of the greatest written characters in comic books, and in stylized, like Tim Burton's first series, part 1 and 2 are really good. 2, the lesser of the two, but I mean. In the look, that was the really good Batman. Unfortunately, I'm a slave to some type of continuity, and being that the Burton Batman films messed that up, and then of course Schumacher and who was the other guy? Schumacher did the other two, right? They got really bad.
And one of my favorite bad movies of all time, Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin, a very horrible movie.
Awful movie.
So then, then you come with this, Nolan stuff. I'll be honest, rewatching all of them, Batman Begins, again, there's some things I like, there's some things I hated. The origin doesn't even go like it should, which I hate. Of course, Heath Ledger, thank God, he made part 2 bearable. But it's the storyline continues. And then, of course, Christian Bale. What I like about Michael Keaton is that he doesn't growl in his role. And the growling of Christian Bale, has been made fun of online. And at least, now, what has it been, 5 years? Yep. Well, since 2000. Wait, the first one was what?
Was it 2008 or 2006?
The first one was in 2005. So in the almost 10 years, there is now brave people who are actually brave enough to come forward and say, yeah, Nolan's Batman sucked. And that ending was horrible. Right? Batman Dark Knight Rises is one of the worst films of all time. And that ending was just unbelievably stupid. And I can't wait. And here,
I'm just going to hold my tongue.
I know. Well, you could go on that, but I just want to say this. I know Delano Dunn is just like this guy. That's why I love it. But Delano Dunn right now is in New York. And when he is, what I'm next going to say, this is how bad Nolan destroyed Batman, that I'm willing to watch Zack Snyder's Batman. and everything about what I've seen so far with the Man of Steel, which was really well done. And look at Nolan had a hand in it, but not that much, thank God. But he had a hand in the story. Man of Steel was really good. It was better than I expected. Ending was crazy. But other than that, let me see. That new Batman trailer, for whatever it is, I'm in love with it. And if Ben Affleck, who I hated as Daredevil, can save Nolan's blasphemy of Batman character storyline, then I'm all for Ben Affleck, and I can't wait to see it. Well, now you can unleash your fury on me if you want.
No, I do not have any comic book knowledge. I'm going to say that up front.
Here.
So the majority of the knowledge I have is from you.
That's true.
You've probably taught me more about comic books than I have ever learned. And so I went into those with no real expectations.
That's true.
Especially in terms of story, though, and plot and characters and like the actual like the details of those characters, though. I knew a little bit because I played the video games. And, granted, those came out afterwards, but Arkham at least. And so the only defense I have is that it's not the worst film of all time. That is nonsense.
The Dark Knight Rises, all right.
With all of the Transformers films. There's
But that's not Batman. I hate Transformers. I hate them too. I never was into Transformers.
I don't hate all the Transformers. I'm just saying.
Did you actually like a Transformers movie?
I don't hate. No, I don't hate. I don't hate the first one. I think the second one is one of the worst films that's ever been made. And I've refused to watch any of the rest of them.
I think I saw one halfway. That's it.
So anyway, with all of those movies out there, and all of this, with Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that The Dark Knight Rises is the worst film of all time.
Oh my God, Bane! It's like Tom Hardy decided to say, "I'm going to be like Christian Bale and growl my lines too." With this, come on! It's like a competition of growling. That last movie's I don't want to talk about it no more. That's how bad that movie was.
We've had this conversation so many times. He's going to break my...
Zack Snyder. I'm waiting for you, bro.
So yeah, I think it's a well-made movie. It's a good action film.
Delano Don will be proud of you right now.
And I'm going to defend it from the title of the worst film of all time, which actually we probably don't have time to get to this later, but the worst film of all time currently is in theaters. It's called Saving Christmas by Kirk Cameron. It's been nominated by the public as the worst film that has ever been made in the history of ever. With a 1 point, it was at a 1.3 the other day on IMDb.
Put Christ back in
Christmas.
Christmas.
It has a whopping 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is the worst film of all time. I have not seen it. I refuse to.
I can't wait.
It has the greatest poster that has ever been.
Yeah, no, it's too bad you can't see it on radio.
But yeah, no, I refuse to go see that. Anyway, that was just a brief segue. Kirk Cameron, we hate you, and it has nothing to do with what you believe.
Your religion, right?
It is with the fact that you make terrible films and then try and defend them. Stop doing that.
Oh yeah, that's the worst thing. They fight for it.
Oh, what does it have on Metacritic? Is that an 18?
An 18.
Yeah. So anyway, Kirk Cameron, cut it out now. We're never going to get through all this.
Yeah, well, go on. What's
so Christopher Nolan, and then Edgar Wright is my
Interestingly enough, you picked that. Yeah.
You see, he doesn't have as much. I mean, he hasn't made 20 films like some of the other guys.
He made 4, right?
But he's made 4, and he's made 4 that I think are outstanding in every way. I don't think we agree on which ones are the best, but I think Hot Fuzz and Scott Pilgrim are my two favorites.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim being one of the best films, I think. Not the best, but my favorite films that's been released in the past few years. Or not few, I guess it's been a couple now. But
yeah.
And I think Hot Fuzz is one of the best edited films I've ever seen. It's incredible. So yeah, no, I love his movies. He's definitely he's got a perfect record with me so far, and I'm excited to see. I'm sad that he dropped out of Ant-Man.
Yeah,
I'm really
crazy.
I know nothing about Ant-Man, but I was interested. At least he had a film that he was making.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And at the moment, he doesn't, which is sad to me. But yeah, we'll see. He's definitely a favorite of mine. I'm going to move on as we're approaching not the hour, but we're getting close. We can go over it. It doesn't matter.
Go on.
And then so Wes Anderson is definitely a favorite of mine.
Wes Anderson.
I was telling him earlier, I haven't seen every film of his, so I haven't seen Royal Tenenbaums. And I haven't seen Life Aquatic.
Haven't seen Life Aquatic?
No, I have not.
Very good movie.
But I have seen a lot. I've seen Darjeeling Limited. I've seen Rushmore.
I love Rushmore. Yeah.
A lot of people, Rushmore's their favorite.
Yeah.
I still am going to stick with Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise Kingdom. We saw that together. We did.
That was actually the first Wes Anderson film I'd ever seen.
For real at the time, right? And then
that was 2012. So I've watched the rest of his filmography in 2 years. But I still haven't seen the 2.
It's just a great way to. The camera setups are amazing, and all it is one camera standing in front of people. Yeah. But the way everything's spaced and
the way it's edited and the way you can hate Wes Anderson. I'm okay with it. I understand.
Yeah, people do.
Don't worry. If you hate Wes Anderson,
it's okay.
You're not out of the ordinary. There are plenty of people that hate him. His style, it's very quirky. It's very it's technical to the point of being almost irritating. To me, though, I like that. I appreciate that. It's funny to me. There's a humor in the way that he moves the camera and when he chooses to move the camera and the way that it's written and the way the miniatures. Like the miniatures are my favorite. They're movies made by somebody who loves movies. And so I love Wes Anderson. I think he's making his films might not be my favorite of all time.
No, agreed.
Every one of them. I think he's really making some good stuff. He's definitely one of the Grand Budapest is definitely definitely my top 10 of the year for sure. I don't know. It's not near the front of the year of my favorite films. I've seen it 3 times I think this year already. We didn't have a lot of movies that came out the first half of the year, so I had nothing to watch but Grand Budapest. And so I'm really a big fan. It's Fantastic Mr. Fox is fantastic.
That's on Criterion. Really I want to get that.
I own all those, and Darjeeling Limited I like as well. So Wes Anderson is definitely on my list. I mean, maybe not of all time. Like I was running out of people to pick here. It's hard. It's actually really difficult to come up with the top 10 directors. Not hard to come up with the top 5. Top 10. There's not that many. And then Spielberg. I actually before this I didn't want to put Spielberg on my list.
Yeah, I know you fought it.
I fought it. I just can't deny how great he is.
Genius.
His films aren't my favorite though. They're not like I don't think he has very few movies that are like this is a movie I watch every year. This is like it's hard for me to say that, but he is one of the best directors that's ever made. I mean, ever been. That's ever made. Is not a thing that makes sense. One of the best directors of all time for sure. His impact is undeniable. And I think my favorite of his would probably be Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that's a great film. I always cry in that film. I mean, of course, you're talking about Jaws, Close Encounters, 1941, Raiders, E.T., Color Purple, Indiana Jones series. I mean, you can't deny his genius. Yeah.
So that's why it would be blasphemy if I didn't put him on my list.
He's on my list too. So that's good.
Jurassic Park. I mean,
AI, Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, War of the Worlds, Munich. Come on, these are great movies.
Munich is I think a very good movie.
I love Munich a lot too. Yeah, I'm glad I bought it. I never saw it in theaters. As I said, let me get it because of the controversy behind it, and it was genius. Yeah. I love that movie.
Yeah. So that is my list. Top 10. We are not going to get to top 10 shows.
Well, I mean, how much time we have? Because I think we're over.
I guess we've already covered most of your list. We are working on 52 minutes.
All right, so we can do this real quick because then that gives me 8 minutes, and
I'll just go.
I'll just go for the ones that we haven't mentioned. Charlie Chaplin. I grew up, when I growing up, I used to watch it on TV, but in college, in Brooklyn College, where I studied under David Hirsch. I just fell in love with Charlie Chaplin. Modern Times, one of the greatest friggin' movies ever made. The Great Dictator. Oh my God, such a great movie. He's my favorite. Actually. You like The Kid, right? And I love Circus. I like the silence are really good. But like I said, I mean, it's just if you talk about directors or film, I think Charlie Chaplin was the first director, and he was the first person who made solid film, and you can actually follow his career and enjoy
actual stories.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying that. Without him,
exactly. Many people.
Somebody would come around eventually.
Woody Allen, he influenced Woody Allen, and so it's really good. Another one we didn't mention, William Friedkin.
Yeah, which is I think it's great too.
French Connection. The Exorcist. One of my favorite films, Don't Judge, Cruising. I love Cruising. I could watch it over and over again. It's such a great movie. And I mean, he's done so much for New York film. Bug. Really like Bug. Creepy movie.
Yeah, it's unsettling.
Yeah, watching Bug, you literally scratch you.
It's great. Yeah, which is an accomplishment. Yeah, I mean.
So Friedkin,
and then Killer Joe.
And Killer Joe, the last film he made, which Juno Temple's magnificent. Matthew McConaughey is great in that. I love the Killer Joe. I did, and
it's really good. It's really good.
And let's see who else we got. You didn't mention it, Francis Ford Coppola, which is interesting.
Yeah, only because he's done some crap.
Yeah, and it's true because I didn't want to put him on my list. I said, you know what, I have Martin Scorsese. I don't have to worry about another Italian American. But
I mean, he's made three of my favorite films.
When you put down, AFI's top 5, you got Godfather is number 2. So I mean, I love The Godfather. I outside of The Godfather series, Apocalypse Now, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree wholeheartedly with that. I can't put him on my list because
after the 80s, it was all downhill. And
Wes Anderson has made more films than I like.
Agreed, in such a short time.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, exactly. And the other person I put on my list, what's his name? Michael Mann.
Yeah.
And starting from Thief, like we were talking before, he changed the way you shot, this action scene. I mean, the bank heist is that scene I can watch over and over again, back to back. It's just one of the greatest scenes in cinema. I mean,
it's one of the first R-rated, or I think it's R. Yeah, it's rated R.
And then you got Pacino, De Niro. What's not Marlon Brando? What's his name? Val Kilmer.
It's definitely not Marlon Brando.
But it's just a solid film, and it's just like from beginning to end.
A little fun tip: I'm currently working on a film that is supposed to be in a film of vignettes for the cinematographer who does all Michael Mann stuff.
Oh, cool.
Spinodi. We're working on a movie for potentially to be.
Good for you, bro.
So we'll see.
See, my man Jeremy's doing well. I'm very proud of him. And the last director, and then this will lead off into, I guess, the fade out. I picked David Lynch, and it's because as an artist. And again, we talk about artists, Charlie Chaplin, Kubrick, they're artists. David Lynch is a true artist, more than a filmmaker, I think. and, you know, Jeremy was saying that he didn't see all of his films.
I have not.
I mean, you've seen Blue Velvet, and I know you enjoyed Blue Velvet.
You showed me.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think that might have been the first one I'd seen of his.
Yeah, that's right. You said that.
Yeah.
And then you got to go back. Eraserhead is on Criterion. I mean, even though Eraserhead...
It's hard to find his movies.
Yeah.
I think Eraserhead is on Amazon or Netflix.
Yeah, it used to be on Netflix. But have you seen it?
No. I've not seen Eraserhead.
And Eraserhead, like I said, even... He went from Eraserhead as an art film, then they gave him Elephant Man as a mainstream film. And it's a great movie, but it's not David Lynch. And then you cut back to Blue Velvet. And Blue Velvet is such a great movie. Then you got one of my favorite movies, Wild at Heart. Yeah. Lost Highway is creepy, but David Lynch is just more of an artist than anything else, and I love it.
Unlike anything,
exactly, and it's like
love it or hate it. I mean, there are people who hate David Lynch, but I mean, his movies are unlike anything you've seen. And it's just, I think, and then plus he changed the face of TV, and we didn't get into TV today, but Twin Peaks, and just from there, it's like how everything snowballed for him in the '90s, but. I mean, it's just the way he made art, film, and then vice versa. I mean, and television art. I mean, it's really good to know that there are directors who see like art. Like I said, I mean, we mentioned Punch Drunk Love as an artistic film. It's just I love it. I mean, it's old, even though it's old fashioned, but I do love David Lynch and. Like I said, Wild at Heart is one of my favorite movies of all time. So yeah, can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
So I guess we will move into television real quick. Want to just list off our favorite shows real fast?
We can do that. Where am I? Where's my TV show list?
We do have a bunch.
Yeah,
This was way harder than the directors. I feel like.
My top 5 was always solid. Same thing afterwards.
Yeah. I'm pretty set on my top 5, but after that is kind of tricky.
Yeah. Your top. You want to start?
Sure. My all-time favorite show is The Wire.
The Wire,
which is a lot of favorite. It's a favorite. Yeah. Anybody who's seen it, most people enjoy it a lot. I think it's just one of the best. You can't watch Law and Order after you've seen The Wire. It doesn't hold up. McNulty is one of the best. One of the best television characters of all time. And he's in a new show that is my favorite show on television. The Affair.
The Affair.
Dominic West is outstanding in it. I think everybody though, like everybody from The Wire.
Yeah.
They never did anything, and they're all fantastic. And it's a smart, intense, really like human show about the drug trade in Baltimore, and I just think it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I watch it. I've seen it all the way through twice. I watched it with my parents. They knocked it out in like less than a month. It's like 3 weeks. They watched all 5 seasons of The Wire. Yeah, so it's really an outstanding show. I recommend it to anyone. It is a slow burn because it is an older show, and there's a lot. Like the first season, it takes about 6 episodes to kind of understand all the names and who everybody is and what they do and why they're important. But everyone is important. Everyone is so vital to that show, and it's just fantastic. So yeah. The Wire is absolutely my favorite. I no doubt about that in my mind.
Yeah, I mean. I've never seen it. I mean, I've been told by everybody in the world to watch it. It's just something I need to do before I die, and it's not on Netflix anymore, so I got to watch it on HBO. But yeah,
so I need to let you borrow some seasons.
Oh, that's right. You have them on DVD. Brilliant.
Yes, I do. And then my second show, which I also own, is Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Which Arrested Development is the funniest, cleverest. I don't know if that's a word.
Quirky.
It's quirky. It's smart. It's
very
great.
smart.
Everybody in it's fantastic. I mean, you watch. I've seen it at least 6 times all the way through, and there's always something to catch.
A different time, yeah.
Like some obscure reference to something that doesn't. Yeah, it's so much to love about the show, and like my mom doesn't like it. It drives me crazy. If you're listening, I don't understand you. It's fantastic.
My ex-wife hated it. She drove me crazy.
I don't get it. But if you don't dig they're annoying characters and they're intentionally annoying, and that's what I love about it. Obnoxious rich people. Yeah, Arrested Development's great.
Yeah,
and then after that, Archer is one of my.
And it is.
It's recently become a favorite of mine. When I started watching it, I've not watched any of it week to week. This is the first season. I've probably watched it 6 times in in under a year and a half.
How many, 5 seasons now?
5 seasons of that show. Yeah, and it's one that I can put on while I'm like playing video games and stuff. And it's funny because it's a show you can just listen to and laugh.
Yeah, it's very well written. Very well written.
Yeah, it's so great. Very funny. It's
very
rude.
funny.
It's rude as.
But that's
rude
why I love it.
Be.
That's why I love it.
And that's what I love about it. So that I totally understand if somebody doesn't like Archer. Unlike Arrested Development, everyone should like Arrested Development. Archer is the definition of crude. And I love it. I love every minute of it. And then Breaking Bad, which I think,
of course, yeah,
I think is just an outstanding achievement on every level, writing, performances, and budget. It's made like a movie. It's one of the first shows in a long time that's like it looks great. It's paced like nothing else that's on television, and it's smart, and you don't. I mean, I watched it week to week from mid season 2.
Yeah.
And it's just outstanding. I think it's really great. It will always be one of the best shows of all time. I think for most people.
Everybody knows.
You're in season 3.
I'm in season 3, and it's like you said, it's such a smart and original show. I mean, originality counts for a lot, and you've never heard of anything or seen anything like Breaking Bad.
Well, I don't know. The Weeds would be the same exact show.
But she don't make her drugs. I mean,
Weeds would be the exact same show.
I like Weeds. Did you see all the Weeds?
I stopped it for season 3 because it got awful.
Yeah, season 1 was solid though.
Yes, very good.
Solid.
But Breaking Bad. It basically took the same premise, but it took it to an all another level.
Another level.
Breaking Bad's great, and then The Sopranos, which I'm not actually finished yet, but it's absolutely a favorite.
Bro,
of mine.
that last episode.
No, there's no way because there's no way.
No. Yeah.
There's no way that one episode will ruin that show for me because it's all about. It's all about just the conversations that happen.
I agree. Like I love when the guys get together. They just start talking.
The way that people talk to each other.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this much: that show. I don't think there's been any other show where there's so many unanswered questions have been left behind.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't like really end The Sopranos.
Unlike, well, it's never mind. Lost.
That's on my list.
I don't know. I think Lost. I mean, there's so many other worse. If the ending is as bad as Dexter, I will give Soprano that.
All right. So
there's no way it's going to be as bad as that finale.
Well, let's see. You'll be done soon, so we'll see.
I'm season 5 right now. It's outstanding. Yeah. It changed the way that we watch television.
I watched it every week and I loved it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
And then 6 Feet Under, another HBO.
Yeah, that was a good show. I'm glad you brought that. Yeah, I love 6 Feet Under.
Everybody's great in it, and it's got one of the best finales of all time, I think.
Yeah.
And it brings me to tears.
Yeah,
not the finale. It does. The finale does, but all throughout, it's funny. It's dark.
Yeah.
Everybody in it's just outstanding. It's sad that Nate, the main character, I'm going blank on his name, his actor, but and then you have Dexter as well from
Michael. Michael. I'll say Michael
Horse. Blank, yeah. But I mean, it's everybody's in it. Everybody that's in it's great. It is nice to see. Is it Ruth Fisher? I believe.
The mother.
She's now in American Horror Story.
Oh, yes.
She's great in that too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of great careers came from 6 Feet Under.
Peter Krause, Michael Hall.
Peter Krause.
Francis Conroy, and Lauren Ambrose. There you go. And Freddie Rodriguez, who I love.
Yes, he's great. Yeah, there's so many great people, and it's season 2 is not great. That'd be my only complaint about it. It's a little weak, but everything else is just so spot on. And there's a couple funeral sequences. I mean, obviously it's a show about funerals.
Yeah.
But there's some funeral sequences in it that are heartbreaking, and it's really something else. So. Yeah, 6 Feet Under is a favorite. Seinfeld would be on my list.
Seinfeld's a good show.
Love Seinfeld. It's been a family favorite of ours. Everybody in my family loves Seinfeld. That's one that if there's nothing else on TV, Seinfeld's always on at any hour, even at 3 o'clock in the morning on TBS. And
that is true.
So Seinfeld's great. I don't think I need to say a lot about that. And Game of Thrones is fantastic.
Yeah,
I've watched every episode. I mean, it's really great. HBO just is killing it.
They're the best original series I think in the world. Yeah,
and I mean It just amazes me that they can make that show.
Yeah,
and just from a production standpoint, it's really incredible.
Yeah,
and it's still going on. So we might do like if once that comes back, we might do week to week on that.
Like a Game of Thrones episode. Yeah,
because it's definitely worth talking about. There's a lot of stuff to talk about in that show, and then True Detective, which I think is an absolute masterpiece of 8 episodes.
I mean, and it's only 8, right? And
it's like only 8 episodes, and what they give you in 8 episodes, it's really something else.
Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
I saw the first trailer for True Detective. I was like,
you showed it to me. I remember
this is going to be one of the best shows of the year, and I was right. No, I mean it's really fantastic.
It was solid.
I mean, it's a little slow. Some people complain about that, but I think the performances and the frame story isn't really that creative. I mean, it's well done. That's what's so impressive about it. But the performances are just out of this world. Matthew McConaughey is really something else.
He is.
Woody Harrelson. Everything about it, and
the way it's shot, the back flashbacks, flash forwards.
It works.
Yeah, it does.
They make it work.
Yeah.
The Affair is actually doing the same thing.
Is it? Yeah. No.
It's not as they don't jump back as often, but what True Detective does so well though is like they jump back, but they don't like tell you. There's no like title card saying this is in 2000.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll mention it sometimes, but you get it just from like the dialogue and from the way they look. The subtle makeup changes over the course of the it takes place over the course of 2 decades almost. In terms of the amount of time that's, or maybe not. I think so. Yeah, 2. Yeah. Whatever. It's not super important, but it's really great. Everything about it. I'm really excited for season 2. I love Colin Farrell and
Vince Vaughn.
That's interesting. It's an interesting cast.
Yeah, I mean, Vince Vaughn's one that picked up my ears.
I was sad that Jessica Chastain didn't. She turn it down.
They had so many actors and actors that they went through.
True. It's hard to do television though when you're making a lot of money doing.
See, I should have written the names down of the people who I said, "Oh, this would have been good."
Yeah, so many people. Yeah, but I love the anthology aspect. I'm a huge fan of that. American Horror Story is doing it. Fargo is also doing it.
Fargo's really good.
That'll be interesting. I'm interested to see what they do with that. But I think it's a great idea still, though.
I mean, just think about the Fargo show. I mean, when we were watching it, you had this kind of like, what's it all about? But when the 4th episode played and they tied everything together, I just I thought that was so genius. And then I got really, really deep in there. Great show.
Yeah,
Fargo.
Really a nice surprise. I
mean,
It came out of nowhere.
Exactly.
That's on my honorable mentions list. It's not on my top just because it's only.
I wrote Fargo on the honorable mentions.
True Detective was one that I just was like, I shouldn't put it on my top 10 list.
Yeah,
because it's only one season. I think it's such a great season of television that I was really blown away. Every week I was like, and then you got like there's a 5 or 6 minute Steadicam shot at the end of episode 5. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like what they're doing with the production and everything. It's really really outstanding television. And then last on my list is Parks and Rec.
You put Parks and Rec there.
I
like it. Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's not like a perfect show by any means.
No, exactly.
I've seen it 3 times now, I think, all the way through, and there's like 100 episodes. So
Damn,
it's another show I'll put on while I'm doing working on stuff and whatnot. Kind of like Archer, but it's really funny. The cast is just so great. I love everybody in it so much that I think that brings it to another level. If you don't like, I think Chris Pratt is just a gift. A gift from.
He's good. Chris Pratt is very good.
Chris Pratt is wonderful. And so like that's the people in the show really just make it for me. Aziz is very funny.
Sorry, is my favorite. Retta.
Everybody. I mean, you get so many people. It's really great. It's very funny. It's similar to The Office. It's also on a very high level of the writing quality is great. I mean, I really enjoy Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know what's our clock timer, so I can throw in the last few here.
We were a little over an hour, so
I know. Right?
Go ahead and
sequel. We cut this.
We're gonna go for an hour and a half today. Cut it short. We're at an hour and 10 minutes at the moment. So
okay. So then, rolling. Well, mine are. I mean, my top 5 are classics. They range through the years. Unfortunately, only not too far back. I mean, I can channel other series that are in the top 10 list of everybody. But I'd still say Twin Peaks is my favorite show of all time.
Which I have yet to see.
Yeah, and again, it was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is.
It is, yeah. I actually started it the other night.
Oh, did you?
At 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I'm just going to go to bed. Yeah, this isn't... it was a terrible idea, and starting a television.
Yeah, not at 3 a.m. in the morning, definitely. No. And binge it. It's quirky. It's well written. It's creepy. It's funny. It's just artistic. Like I said, nothing on TV at the time. Everything was sitcoms. Roseanne brought that in, but Twin Peaks brought in this like dark comedic horror film, and it was just. I mean, like I said, I remember sitting there watching it in April of 1991, and I was like, "What the fuck?" and I couldn't take my eyes off it. Following the second show is not, and again, I know everybody laughs when I mention it. But only because I've seen ensembles like Taxi or even The Honeymooners to a shorter extent. You have throughout the years Cheers, all these ensemble shows, and they're very well written. But to take a simple flop movie, make it into this ensemble, well written, and basically Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And Joss Whedon, who now is being hailed as one of the greatest directors of all time, or whatever, who could actually bring a movie like The Avengers together, which was a great superhero film.
Good, yes.
Yeah, and it was just darkly funny, and some of the shows were just on a human level. I mean, like I said, I can name episodes like Hush or The Body, some of the greatest episodes of television. You got to really. I know. I told my boy Delano he didn't want to do it, but he actually gave in and said, you know what, somebody, he didn't watch all of it, but for the stuff he did like it. So I give him that. My number 3 show, and again, this is something for people who follow shows or from beginning to end. Like I said, Buffy, there's episodes where you can pick them out and pick and choose. But Quantum Leap, I mean, you talk about ending, season finales. I know we can go on for hours about, what's the best? Like Sopranos, horrible season finale or series finale. I think Quantum Leap for what it was, and like I said, if you watch it from beginning to end, the first episode and the last episode are basically mirrors. And it's just one of the most heartbreaking, heart-wrenching episodes you can ever see. And I know I'm going to laugh. I'm not even looking at Jeremy, because I always cry. But I mean, it's like just to think about that ending, and it's like you have somebody who goes throughout his life to help people leaping into their lives and saving them, and you finally get and in that time you learn about yourself. You find out who you are, what you have at home, everything that you can go back to, and when you're finally given the decision, you sacrifice yourself for someone else. And I think I don't want to bring up Jesus Christ, but I mean I thought it's a great ending, and like I said, I'm not trying to focus. I don't want to start crying, but I tell anybody to watch Quantum Leap. Again, if not even the first season and then the last episode, you still get the gist of what I'm saying.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, and you got.
I don't know if I've seen anything on your list.
Yeah, that's right.
I've seen some of Buffy.
Well, you've seen number 4. You still Lost. And,
yes,
and we discussed a little bit before.
We haven't gotten to the rest of his list. As
yeah, I know, right? But Lost, like he was saying about Sopranos. I know I'm being a hypocrite by saying Sopranos sucked because of that last episode. Lost. I mean, I followed religiously. I mean, there may have been 1 or 2 episodes that were kind of boring, but other than that, everything was engaging and engrossing. And then that last episode really screwed everybody over. And again, I think it was just nobody knows what to do with something. Almost.
That's a situation where you have this great idea, and you have several seasons of a great idea, and no idea how to really bring it all together.
And that was a bad thing about Lost. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, out of the 90 whatever episodes there are,
but what a show for! It's 100. No, it's like 100 episodes. I think it's a bunch.
Right.
Like 120 or something like that.
I think you're right. I see 143
long seasons. They're like 24 episode seasons, or at least for the first couple seasons. But yeah, no, I would say Lost is a very, very great show. I mean, that took a month of my life. Yeah. And
you're getting gross.
It leaves you cold though in the end.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's one of the I think it's easily the best show outside of cable television because it was on Fox.
Agreed. 7 ABC.
Granted, like Seinfeld, I don't
count. But I agree with you. I mean, if it would have imagine if it would have been on HBO, that would have been such a fucking genius.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To round out my top 5, and like I said, I can mention the other half of the 5 is just classic. Would be Freaks and Geeks, and like I said, for another for only 18 episodes. I mean, again, and it's only I guess more personal than anything else. You got the characters on the show. Some of them famous. James Franco.
Everybody's great.
Jason Segel, Martin Starr. What's her name? Linda Cardellini. Yeah. It's just a great cast of young actors who are so good, and a lot of improvisation on the show. And it's just like me, David, Joe. Back in Brooklyn. That show was about us. It's such a great show, nostalgic show, the 70s, 80s. And, it's just so damn well written. It's just a shame.
Funny to this day.
It really is. And it's a shame that it was canceled. It was taken out of its prime after 18 episodes. But it was just, one of my favorite shows of all time. And I definitely can't wait till my daughter gets old enough to watch it so she can see it. It's just so good.
Very few things have gotten high school so right.
Yeah, amen. And even like us being film geeks, it's like, they always, every episode they mention a movie or a TV show at the time that was so big. And it's like, I said to myself, that was me. It's like I used to go to movies. My mother would take us every weekend. We'd go to the movies and we'd see at the Coliseum on 53rd and 4th Avenue. It was an exploitation film theater. They mostly showed Spanish films. But I saw all my horror films. I grew up on horror films there. Then afterward, like the 80s classics. It shut down in 88. But I mean, it's like, the way they talk about Caddyshack, or the way they talk about, The Jerk. And it's like they always mention these movies. It's like when you're a kid, those are the movies you see, and they love the Incredible Hulk and Dallas. They would watch, and I used to watch those shows. So it's just such a really nostalgic. And like you said, high school, definitely. I mean, you growing up around people who try to bully you or people try to peer pressure you. It's one of my favorites.
Created by Judd Apatow, correct?
Yeah, and Judd Apatow, who went on to
he's now
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's done a bunch of. He hasn't done a lot though in the past 2 years. He did This Is 40.
This Is 40, which I liked actually. It was a sequel to Knocked Up.
I do love Paul Rudd. I think is in it, and then
great movie. Great actor Paul Rudd. He was supposed to be an Ant-Man, that you mentioned before.
Yeah. I love Paul Rudd a lot, man. He's got a great film resume of comedies. And then he's working on Girls. I think he's executive producer on Girls as well. Or maybe not executive producer, but he's one of the producers on Girls. He's got a lot of input with Lena Dunham on the show. Yeah, so he's still working, but not making as many movies as he was back in early 2000s. But.
So to round out the last five, I went, in thinking about it, I went with the classic. I'll start off with The Honeymooners, only because The Honeymooners is what brought sitcoms onto TV. And more I Love Lucy than anybody else, but still, I Love Lucy is so generic and so cookie cutter. Honeymooners is very funny. Of course, it took place in Brooklyn. But it launched in that era of sitcom. Twilight Zone, speaking about anthology. Yeah. I mean, Twilight Zone, American Horror Story wouldn't be around without the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, you got all these science fiction and horror stories mixed into one. And like I said, I mean, I got the box set over there. It's just great to watch Twilight Zone evolved into what it became,
It's still fun to watch now.
Oh, yeah. And there's some really creepy fucking episodes, man, that scare the shit out of me. But as the Twilight Zone, then we get shows like the Dean Martin Show, which I'm very big into live. As a kid, I did improv acting for about 10 years of my life. The Dean Martin Show is one of the greatest live TV shows ever. The guy would show up the day of filming, didn't rehearse all week, and the show would be spot on. I advise everybody, if you can catch any of those infomercials where they sell the Dean Martin Show in any shape or form, try it out. You would love it. I mean, anyone who loves just spontaneous, on-the-spot stuff, Dean Martin. And then, like I said, we discussed I love Arrested Development. That was going to be my honorable mentions down here that I had here. And Orange is the New Black, another great new show.
That's shockingly great.
Yes.
I heard nothing but good things when that happened.
Oh, no, yeah.
Obviously, everybody was like, oh, yeah, Orange is the New Black is fantastic. You need to watch it. But it's near perfect, I think.
You told me about it. I think you were the first one to tell me about it. But, yeah, I mean, I love that. We watched that. Me and Rhonda watched that in maybe 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
We watched 2 seasons.
Yeah.
We mentioned American Horror Story. Walking Dead, still doing well. I mean, I know a lot of people fighting it. I mean, it's nothing like the comic book.
Sorry, the chairs are a little loud. Huh? Squeaky chairs.
Oh, that chair went. But yeah, again, I know you said you're still not finished with The Walking Dead.
I'm only on season 3. I've stopped watching it. Is kind of how I feel about it.
How you feel?
I've pretty much stopped.
Yeah, and like I said, it gets more like the comic more and more, and they should focus more on following the comic book Robert Kirkman is going to produce it. They have no excuse. But I still am a fan. I still watch it religiously every week. I can't wait till next season. And the last one I have here, and only because we were talking about last, but it's almost prophetic to add it last. Community. It's that little show that
I
could.
forgot to mention that. Yeah. Actually, I didn't go over my honorable mentions, but
yeah, you did. Sorry, bro.
It's not. We're running out of time.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just a little show that could. I mean, what an ensemble. I mean, Joe McHale
just recently finished catching up on Community.
Yeah,
it's very good. Very
and so you've seen all 5 seasons, right?
Yes, I have.
And it's just so great. I mean, Abed and Troy. I mean, it's great little.
Troy and Abed in
the morning. And it's just the alternate evil world. I mean, you got a little crazy to it, but every season they have like that one episode, either the Christmas animation episode or the video game episode.
Video game being probably my favorite. Well, paintball episodes are
paintball.
All,
the Die Hard.
Floor is lava.
And the
Goodfellas. The Goodfellas episode is really great too. The chicken. And they've got a lot of good stuff in that show. It's pretty brilliant. Yeah. Other than season 4 when they fired their executive producer
Dan Harmon, who's back for the Hulu stuff. He's back for that. Or Yahoo, whoever's coming back on.
Have you seen Rick and Morty by him at all?
No, is it?
It's Dan Harmon's. It's his cartoon show.
Network. Okay, yeah. Then I did see a little bit of that.
He's the creator. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, in that like Adult Swim kind of way.
Yeah.
Weird, very bizarre and weird, and a lot of fun. So Community's great.
Yeah, I love Community.
It's sad that it's having so much trouble staying on the air.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. It starts in January, supposedly. I just don't know. I keep forgetting if it's Hulu or Yahoo, but I mean,
I think it's Yahoo.
Watch it. It's a Yahoo, then I'll watch it. But so yeah, that was our TV and film. I guess being in the indecisive cinema, we gotta work on some type of ending to our shows.
We had a whole list of things to talk about. We totally we totally missed a lot of these things. The list took way too long. Yeah, but I guess we could do Netflix picks though, real quick. Did you pick one?
Yeah, for Netflix, and again, I'll go first. Mine aren't as solid as yours. Me and Jeremy talked about this before. Over the past month, I think Sacrament, which we talked about, I liked a lot.
Ty West.
By Ty West. It just kind of fell flat. I mean, you didn't have to make found footage genre in that. But I liked it. I like what they did. But again, it's not the best. Torment is another good film that's out on Netflix. I advise you to see. It's kind of creepy, but has a great ending. And then Mockingbird, which I only bring up because it's the follow up to Strangers, or it's from the guy who did The Strangers, and his next film that just got locked away for 4 years and got released on Netflix. And I mean, I understand why. I advise everybody to see it, but it just kind of falls flat. I don't know if Jeremy saw it yet, but I wanted to hear his opinion on it. Yeah.
And we're back. Sorry, we just had to take a phone call real quick from one of our viewers. I'm just kidding. We don't have.
I want a phone.
We have negative viewers at the moment. There's 0 people listening to this. If you are, thank you very much.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how you would know, but yes. So I'm going to go over my Netflix picks real fast. Actually, I have a lot. I could have 20 Netflix picks.
Yeah, I bet you always give me good recommendations.
Every week I could have 20 more movies that I recommend on Netflix. For this week, though, I'm going to go with 2. I'm going to give you 2. Big Bad Wolves is a film that I just saw this week. It's 2013, but I think it's late 2013. Mm-hmm. It might be considered this year, but it's actually, I think it's Israeli, I believe. I'm going to double check that real quick.
And how'd you come across this?
I had just seen the cover. It's got that's it. I saw the cover of it at Fry's, and on the cover it says Quentin Tarantino's favorite film of the year.
Oh, okay.
In quotation marks, and so I was like, that's interesting. It's not a bad marketing ploy because it worked for me. But it's as dark of a comedy as comedy gets, and it was made for very it's a cheap movie. It wasn't made for a lot of money, but it looks great. It's very well paced. It's really, really funny if you're into dark comedy, and it is foreign, so it is subtitled. So if that's not your thing, I'm sorry, you're missing out.
Well, you know me, I don't mind that.
I would definitely recommend that. It's Big Bad Wolves. It's on Netflix. I believe it just got up there, but it should be there for a while. So that, and then my second one is one of my favorite films of last year. It's You're Next. Directed by Adam Weingart. It's starring all of his friends and some other really bad actors. The father in that movie is just the worst. But it's a horror film. When it first got released, I didn't know.
The release is a horror film, I think. But
it is. But
I'd
classify it as a horror film, but as a black comedy.
Definitely black comedy.
It's one of the funniest films I've seen in a while. It's really great. What I love so much about it is just it's Adam Weingart and all his friends. Ty West is in the film. Same with Joey Swanberg. All these are like independent directors that make. They don't make like the best movies ever, but they star in each other's films, and you watch them and you just feel like it's a bunch of friends making a movie. And so I love that about that. Like that's what independent cinema should be. Like it's just a bunch of friends making some movies and having a blast, and that's what Your Next feels
that
like.
Would be cool.
And so it would be great. But but they're doing that. You know. I like it a lot. And then. Adam Weingart also directed my favorite film of this year, The Guest, which is it's a small movie. Nobody saw it. It was in theaters. I saw it twice in one weekend, but I think my ticket, what I paid to see that movie, might have been like an actual percentage of the amount of money that the movie made. It didn't do very well. A lot of critics loved it though. It got like a 96%.
Yeah, the way you described it to me, I want to see it right now.
Like everybody that saw it loved it. It's killing it with the critics, but nobody saw the movie. It was out of theaters, at least here, within a week. So Your Next is on Netflix. Go check it out. Just know that it's just don't take it seriously. Would be my only recommendation with it. It's not meant to be taken seriously, and I think when you finish the film, you'll understand why. It's a blast. It's a lot of throwbacks to old school horror, and just a really funny movie. So You're Next and The Guest, which isn't on Netflix, it won't be for a while. It's not in theaters anymore, but it's going to be on DVD at some point. The Guest is my favorite of this year. So those are my two picks. Big Bad Wolves and You're Next.
I love You're Next. You told me about it last year. You mentioned Tarantino, and I was like, Joss Whedon, actually. That's how you told me about it. I was like, let me check it out. You're right. It is a horror film per se, but it's like such like once you find out what's going on, it does become very funny and very darkly funny.
And anyone that says that the movie is not intentionally funny, I don't understand. I feel like they watched a different movie. Like I don't understand how people don't see the humor in it. And a lot of people I've talked to are like, it's okay.
Nobody as smart as us.
That's why. But I just feel like once you see, it's not a spoiler. The movie takes a turn though in the second half. And once you see that, I really don't. I don't see how you can take it seriously. Is kind of my point.
Because you mentioned The Guest and how that turned into this big 80s action film, and that almost happens in Your Next. You find out that somebody took lessons in survival.
It is a blast. All the performances aren't the best. The father, I think, is the worst. There's a line in it where he's like, one of my favorite lines in the movie. He's like, there's no cell phone reception. I had reception this morning, just this morning. And his face he's awful. But I think it's perfect casting for that movie. It's like he was intentionally cast.
You're right.
Bad. I can't say that though. Maybe it was just bad casting. I don't know. But he makes the movie. He makes the movie so much more fun for me. Your Next is one of my favorites. It's like the type of movie I'd want to make. That's how I describe it.
Interesting. And that's.
It seems like so much. They had so much fun making it.
That's the young filmmakers lament. After watching it, and then you told me the story behind it, I'm like, that's kind of cool. You get a bunch of your friends, you're chilling. You're all directors in some way, and you're making movies. And like I said, Your Next was a big release. Out of all,
it took a while. They made it in 2011, and it didn't get released until 2013. Maybe not 2011, but somewhere like years before it got released. And I think Lionsgate's the one that released. I don't know. It took forever.
It's funny you say because it's actually listed.
It was really successful though.
2011 on IMDb.
Yeah,
not even 2013. So.
And I mean, I really like it. And then your Netflix pick is by Ty West, who's in the film,
the Sacrament.
And then Joy Swanberg is in the Sacrament as well as their buddy. I'm going blank on his name. The one that's in all of Ty West's films, and he's also in The Guest and Your Next.
AJ Bowen.
He plays AJ Bowen. He plays what's his name in the movie? I don't know. I'm going blank.
And Joe Swanberg.
Crispin. He plays. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm digging what these guys are doing. They all did the VHS movies.
VHS,
Adam Weingart directed
the
Frame Story in VHS.
Yeah,
and then Ty West and Joy Swanberg star in certain. I don't think Ty West is in the movie, but he directed the segment with Joy Swanberg, and so they're all in each other's films. It's just so much fun.
He did the ABCs of Death too. Really good.
And then Swanberg has his own portfolio as well, the Drinking Buddies and Happy Christmas, which just got released this year. We were going to talk about that, but we ran out of time.
So
I think we're gonna move on and wrap this up here. Now that we've got our Netflix picks out of the way, we just wanted to kind of talk about the structure of the show. We're not film critics, as much as I'd like to be somebody who gets paid to go see movies.
We could be film critics.
If any of you are listening out there and you have the ability to hire film critics, let us know if you like what we're doing. But we're not film critics, so we're gonna watch the movies we want to see.
Exactly.
I don't have the money to go see every movie that's in theaters every week. So now I watch a lot of Netflix. I work for myself for the most part, so I've got a lot of time to do it. And so we're going to talk about movies that we've both seen, the movies that have impacted the way we watch movies and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about the classics. We're going to talk about independent films. We're going to talk about stuff that's on Netflix and give you guys recommendations according to things we enjoy. That's how the structure of it's going to be. And we're going to probably go see the big releases. I'm assuming you'll go see Interstellar at some point. I saw most of the big stuff that came in theaters this year. Just the stuff that I wanted to see.
I mean, Interstellar was supposed to be seen on the 70mm screen, so I want to see it in New York.
Yeah, we'll see. But we're gonna do our best to go see as much as possible in theaters, but it's not going to be something we're going to go. Movies are expensive, so
yes, amen.
I mean, other than that, we're going to try and do this once a week. It might not always be possible, but we're going to try and do so. And it'll be uploaded to jeremymknight.com. That's me. It's on my website under the podcast page, and so give us a like and tell your friends about it.
Yeah. So for this episode of the Indecisive Cinema podcast, I'm Carlos Hernandez.
And I'm Jeremy Knight.
And we'll see you next week at the movies. Ding, 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 ding.
Later.
Bye.